Hi, welcome back to Outdoor Gear and Skills. I wanted to do a follow-up on something that I addressed over a year ago. I've been here in Houston for about 9.5 months. And when I lived in Oregon, I had some single track that I rode on, and there was actually a massive wildfire 5 years ago. It was Labor Day of 2020, and it burned that whole single track area and just trashed it, knocked out a bunch of bridges and landslides, fallen trees, all kinds of things. So I wanted to keep riding, and I ended up going on some steep hills that were old logging roads. So these were gravel roads, and I was just trying to climb as many feet as I could. And a lot of times I was going between 2,000 and 3,000 feet in the beginning. Then I was going for 3,000 to 4,000 feet. And it was a climb right off the bat. So I was just grinding out a climb for almost an hour. And then I'd have a pretty crazy downhill that I'd go bombing through. And I always carry an extra tube. I've got the Presta on my Fazari Alta Peak bike here. I've had this thing for almost 11 years. And I did a video sometime last year, maybe a year and a half ago, about these patches that were adhesive that you could put on, that were kind of like a sticker, and you could put those on instead of having to use kind of the rubber cement or whatever and waiting a long time. You kind of just scuff it up a little bit with sandpaper, peel that and stick it on like a sticker, and it gets you off the trail, and it's pretty good. Well, I've had this in my bike for quite a while, and Houston's really flat, but I have a Greenbelt trail system that's over 50 miles long. It's right here in my neighborhood. I'm able to go all over, and there are some sections that are dirt. There's a wilderness area that's about 4,700 acres, about 15 minutes from me. So I still get to go on dirt a little bit. I just don't have hills. I don't have jumps or any downhill. So I've got to go back to Utah or that kind of thing for riding, but I still want to get out and ride my bike. I've been doing this for over 30 years, and I just love riding my bike. I go on rides with my wife, I go with my grandson, I go with my grandkids that are in Utah, and I just love riding my bike. But it got to the point where if I hadn't ridden for a few days, I would come out and I'd fill my rear tire, and it was flat, and I had to pump it up. And I just got to the point where I didn't really have time to mess with it, so I just pump it up really quickly, go for my ride, and I'd be fine during the ride. A few days later, I'd have to pump it back up. And it's been making a lot of crazy noises, and I just decided, I took the chain off, I just did kind of a deep clean on it, trying to get all the grime and dirt and everything out of there, and grease. And so I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and change this tube. I've got a couple extra tubes, and so I just swapped it out. I'm just kind of sick of having to pump it up every time. So these, I still keep those in my Camelback. I will use them in a pinch if I can't use an extra tube for whatever reason. I will throw something like that on to get me home, but then I'm most likely going to change that tube within a few days because it's just not holding, so it's not worth it. So with that being said, I'm just going to cut this part out, and that part's really not, maybe it's okay. I'll just kind of toss that over there. But I've done videos before where I take mountain bike tube and I cut out the stem section because that's not really of any use to me. But I love to repurpose things, and this is fantastic to wrap around Altoids cans, or I had my cards, all my driver's license, credit cards, everything in there for quite a while until I got, actually it's in my pocket, until I got that wallet. I did a video on that. But I did that. I'll put paracord inside it. It's just really good at being able to use that to repurpose it into something. And the thicker you go to hold your credit cards or that kind of thing, the tighter it holds it. But it really doesn't take much, just a small section to hold an Altoids can closed. And so with that, I might make a small first aid kit, or I might throw extra little parts for mountain biking, little, the circle that screws down to hold the Presta valve in place. I may throw that and a couple little things, or a couple Allen wrenches in a little kit. And so I do a lot of different things like that. So now this is going to be repurposed, and I'll be able to use it on different things. So like I said, that patching system, I will keep it in my Camelback because it doesn't take up much space, it doesn't weigh much, but that's not going to be a long-term solution. It just feels like it's not holding, and I can't really rip that out and then reapply it. It's just going to do more damage. So at this point, I've got a brand new tube in there. My tires are looking pretty nasty, so I'm going to have to get those replaced. But one of the great things about living here in Houston is, even though I don't have the mountains, hills, jumps, a lot of things like that, I have a year that I can ride all year round without crazy weather. I really did not like riding in the cold rain in Oregon. It was always splashing water up. It's always dripping down your head or your helmet. You can't see through your glasses. Everything's getting wet all up your back, your Camelback, and it's just miserable. And everything's really slick. It's just not safe, even on the streets. I don't like that. In Utah, I rode quite a bit, but in the winter when there's snow on the ground, I couldn't climb or go up hills. I just have no traction. So I had to ride kind of on a flatter section by where I lived. So I really enjoy that, even though the summer was hot and humid. When I kept riding, I was fine. I wasn't sweating. I was kind of warm, but I had a ice cold Camelback with 100 ounces of water. So I felt good. As soon as I stopped riding, then I would start sweating like crazy. So I do enjoy being able to be out in agreeable weather pretty much year round here in Houston so far. So that's awesome. I'd love to hear what your experiences are with these. Do you just throw the tube out and just replace it automatically when you get a flat? Or are you using a patch kit? How's that working for you? As always, thanks for watching Outdoor Gear and Skills, and we'll see you out there.